Hey, storytellers and story lovers, welcome to the 6 Degrees of Separation series. Each story is linked in some way or the other to the other stories in this series. So don't forget to share and hit that subscribe button. Now sit back and enjoy. The village of Umuoba thrived under the reign of King Nnamdi and Queen Anwuli, who had brought years of peace and prosperity to the land. Surrounding the kingdom were dense forests rich with game, rivers teeming with fish, and fields yielding bountiful harvests. Yet even in times of abundance, shadows of danger often lurked at the edges of paradise. One fateful season, those shadows took form. Rumors began to spread from neighboring villages of a monstrous lion, a beast of unnatural size and ferocity. It was said to have glowing eyes that pierced the darkness and a roar that could shake the heavens. Entire settlements had been abandoned, their people driven away, or worse. The whispers reached Umuoba, filling its people with dread. King Nnamdi and the Council of Elders sent trackers to locate the beast and track its path. They needed to make sure Umuoba was not in its path of terror. However, one evening, a young warrior stumbled into the village square, his body bloodied, his eyes wide with terror. "The lion," he gasped. "It crossed Umuoba River. It's here." Panic rippled through the villagers. Mothers clutched their children. Farmers abandoned their tools, and the usually vibrant streets fell silent as fear gripped every heart. The king's guards quickly escorted the warrior to the palace, where a council was called. The oracle, a frail man with white hair and a staff adorned with charms, rose to speak. His voice carried an otherworldly weight. "This lion is no ordinary beast," he began. "It is not of flesh and blood, but born of a curse. Its claws tear at the soul, not just the body. Ordinary weapons cannot harm it." The room fell silent, the tension thick as smoke. Then Chief Okonkwo, a seasoned warrior, stood. "Are we to do nothing?" he yelled. "Shall we let this beast ravage our land?" The oracle's gaze fixed on King Nnamdi. "There is more you should know, my king. Your father, King Akuna, passed with a secret he and the elders of his time swore never to speak of again. This secret ties to the lion and the darkness that follows it." Nnamdi's face darkened, his jaw tightening. "A secret?" he asked. "What did my father withhold from me?" "That knowledge is buried in the past," the oracle replied. "But know this, the lion's presence is no coincidence, and it falls to you, as it did your father, to confront the consequences." Queen Anwuli placed a hand on Nnamdi's arm, her voice steady. "The oracle's wisdom has guided us before, my king. He foresaw my place at your side and the birth of our sons. We must trust his counsel now." King Nnamdi nodded. "From all reports, Oracle, this thing is unstoppable. How do we defeat such a beast? And how do we find out what its connection is to this palace and my late father, King Akuna? Is there any way of stopping the inevitable bloodshed other villages have suffered?" The oracle's expression softened. "Indeed, there is one who can face the lion, Ikem, the great hunter. The gods have chosen him." A murmur spread through the council. Everyone knew of Ikem, a man of unmatched skill, known for his humility despite his many triumphs. King Nnamdi nodded. "Summon him. If the gods have chosen Ikem, then he shall face this trial." Ikem was a towering figure, standing at an impressive 6 feet 4 inches, with a physique that seemed carved by the gods themselves. His handsome face bore a rich mustache and beard, complementing his deep-set hazel eyes that held both warmth and intensity. His long, beautiful locks were always tied in a low ponytail, and he carried himself with a quiet confidence. Beloved by the villagers, he was as kind and compassionate as he was skilled, earning his title as the Great Hunter, not just for his unmatched prowess, but for his integrity and dedication to protecting his people. Years ago, Ikem had faced and defeated a rogue elephant that had terrorized the region for months. The beast had trampled fields, destroyed homes, and killed anyone who dared to stand in its path. Armed with only a spear and his wits, Inkem tracked the elephant into the dense forest and brought it down in a battle that lasted an entire night. Inkem was also the only warrior brave enough to enter the dreaded evil forest, a place feared for its dark magic and the spirits that roamed within and always returned unscathed. His victory and fearlessness saved countless lives and ensured the village's survival, earning him the title of the Great Hunter. That evening, Inkem sat outside his modest hut with his wife, Nenna, a woman of dark mahogany skin and natural beauty. Her long braids framed her warm, expressive face. As she twisted Inkem's locks with practiced care, their 6-year-old daughter, Chioma, played nearby, her laughter a soothing balm against the encroaching fear. "I dreamed of you last night," Nenna said softly. "You were in the forest, and the lion stood before you. You struck it down, but you didn't return to me." Inkem took her hand, his deep voice steady. "Dreams are but shadows, my love. I will return." Before she could respond, the oracle appeared, his staff tapping softly on the ground. "Inkem," he said respectfully, "I must speak with you alone." Nenna, sensing the gravity of the moment, pressed her lips into a thin line and ushered Chioma inside. The oracle's cloudy eyes studied Inkem. "You were summoned to the palace by the king, yet you did not appear." "I heard the summons," Inkem replied, his voice firm but respectful. "But my heart told me to wait. I knew you would come." The oracle nodded, his expression unreadable. "The gods have indeed chosen you for this task. The lion is no ordinary beast. It is born of a curse tied to the royal bloodline. Its defeat will require not just strength, but sacrifice. And the gods have chosen me to be the sacrificial lamb." "Don't see it like that, Inkem," the oracle replied. "You would be saving dozens of lives, including that of your wife and daughter. And that is the reason I have come to terms with my destiny," Inkem said, looking back at the hut. From within his robe, the oracle produced a sacred knife that had been passed down from oracle to oracle for centuries. It was no ordinary blade. Its blade shimmered with an eerie light, and strange markings seemed to pulse along its edge. "This blade is your only hope," he said. "Strike at the lion's heart, and you will end its reign of terror. But know this, the blade ensures your victory at the cost of your life." Inkem took the knife, its weight both comforting and ominous in his hand. He thought of Nenna and Chioma, their laughter and love. He was doing this for them. He needed his daughter to grow up and be happy, and she would need her mother. Inkem had heard and seen firsthand the horrors in the other villages and knew this would be a journey of no return. "Look after them," he said quietly. "They will need you." The oracle's voice softened. "Beware, Inkem. The lion is not just a beast. Evil walks in its shadow. And remember, the secrets of the past are often closer than we think." Inkem's grip on the knife tightened as the oracle turned and vanished into the darkness, leaving the hunter alone with his thoughts and the weight of his destiny. For 2 days and nights, Inkem tracked the lion through the dense forest. He found signs of its destruction, fallen trees, claw marks in the earth, and the remains of unfortunate prey. The beast appeared to always be one step ahead, and Inkem felt the lion was toying with him. But his sheer determination and the thought of his wife and daughter kept his mind focused on what had to be done. Each step brought him closer to his destiny. On the 3rd night, beneath a blood-red moon, Inkem finally faced the lion. The beast was enormous, its golden mane glowing like fire. Its eyes burned with malice, and when it spoke, its voice was deep and resonant. "I have been waiting for you, Inkem," it said. "Do you know who I am?" Inkem tightened his grip on the knife. The oracle was right. "You are no lion. You are something else." The lion laughed, a chilling sound. "I am Chike, the forgotten prince, and you, hunter, are my final obstacle." Before Ikem could ask what he meant, the battle began. The lion lunged with claws that tore through trees, its roars shaking the ground. Ikem fought valiantly, his movements swift and precise. But the lion's hide was impenetrable, and each strike of the enchanted blade seemed to sap Inkem's strength. He stumbled back against a tree, his chest heaved deep. The beast was a formidable foe, and for a split second, Ikem doubted himself. But as quickly as the thought entered his mind, it left. Ikem charged the beast with a fury unlike anything he had ever seen from himself before. Finally, as the lion lunged with a lethal blow, Ikem plunged the knife into its heart. The beast roared, a sound so loud it seemed to rend the heavens. Its form began to shift, fur turning to flesh, until before Ikem lay the body of a man. "Chike," Ikem whispered, "the king's brother. You are believed to be just folklore." He struggled to breathe. Chike's eyes flickered with recognition. "I was lost," he whispered. "Mother, forgive me," his voice fading as he took his final breath. Ikem, too, collapsed, gripping his chest, his strength spent. As his vision dimmed, he whispered, "Nena, Chioma, forgive me." The first sign came as Nena prepared soup over an open fire outside their hut. She had tried to keep herself busy while trying to answer as many questions as her daughter Chioma asked about where her father was. "He will be back soon, my child," she would say, her words sounding empty. Even to her, she still couldn't shake her dream. The night was calm, but as she stirred the pot, an inexplicable chill washed over her. The pot tipped over suddenly, spilling its contents into the flames. Nena froze, staring at the spreading embers. In her heart, she knew what it meant. A bad omen. She gasped and rose to her feet, her eyes wide with panic. "Ikem," she whispered, her voice trembling. Without hesitation, she darted toward the forest, her sandals barely gripping the dirt as she ran. Villagers called after her, confused by her sudden urgency, but she didn't stop. Her heart guided her through the dark paths her husband had taken. She found him under the blood-red moon, his body still and cold. The enchanted knife lay beside him, its eerie light now dimmed. Nena dropped to her knees, her cries piercing the night. She cradled Inkem's head in her lap, her tears falling onto his face. Back in the village, the news of Inkem's death spread quickly. The once vibrant community was enveloped in mourning. Villagers gathered at his hut, bringing offerings and sharing stories of his bravery. Women wept openly, and men bowed their heads in respect. Chioma clung to her mother, her small hands clutching Nena's dress as she asked, "Is Papa coming back?" Nena held her daughter tightly, her voice breaking. "No, my child, but he will always be with us in spirit." At the palace, King Nnamdi decreed that little Chioma would be betrothed to his eldest son, Obinna, when Chioma was of age, ensuring that Inkem's legacy would be interwoven with the royal bloodline. The enchanted knife was presented to Nena as a keepsake, a symbol of courage and sacrifice, and a statue of Ikem was erected in the village square. It showed him standing tall, holding the sacred knife, his eyes fixed on an unseen horizon. The oracle and King Nnamdi planned to call a gathering in the palace courtyard to reveal the truth about Chike. The villagers had demanded an explanation to who Chike was. If he was a prince of Umuoba, then how come many of them had never heard of him? At the royal gathering, the oracle stood before the villagers and elders, his frail frame illuminated by the flickering torchlight. King Nnamdi sat on his throne, his face etched with both grief and curiosity. "My king," the oracle began, his voice trembling with the weight of truth. "The lion you feared was not born of the wild, but of your bloodline. His name was Chike, your younger brother. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Nnamdi's eyes widened. My brother? He said, his voice barely above a whisper. The oracle nodded. When you were but a year old, your father, King Akuna, had 2 wives. Your mother, Queen Irima, was the first and beloved by all. The second wife, Queen Neka, bore Chike. She was a woman of striking beauty, but a heart consumed by envy. King Nnamdi murmured to himself in disbelief. I never knew my father had 2 wives. The oracle's words painted a vivid picture. Neka had poisoned Chike's mind from the day he could speak. You are the rightful heir, she would say. You are stronger, smarter, and destined to rule, but they will never let you take your place because Nnamdi was born before you. Her envy festered into desperation. One fateful night, she attempted to poison Queen Irima and infant Nnamdi. The oracle yelled to the crowd. Her plot was uncovered by the palace guards, and though King Akuna loved Chike, Neka's actions could not be forgiven. She was banished along with her young son to the outermost regions of the kingdom and into the evil forest. The crowd gasped. I was too young to remember any of this, Nnamdi murmured, his voice heavy with emotion. Most of the elders who witnessed these events have long passed, my king, the oracle replied. But I was there. I saw the pain in your father's eyes as he sent Chike away with his wicked mother, knowing it was the only way to protect the kingdom. The oracle continued. In exile, Neka's obsession with revenge grew sharper with every passing day. She turned to forbidden rituals, seeking power from dark spirits. In her desperation, she offered her own life to these entities in exchange for Chike's rise to power. What happened to her? Someone from the crowd asked. The oracle lowered his gaze. After years blinded by evil, she eventually perished, consumed by the very darkness she invoked. But her sacrifice bore rotted fruit. Her quest for revenge embedded in her son. Chike, now a man, became strong, too strong for any human to challenge. His only mission, carry out his mother's quest for revenge, destroy Umuoba and the royal family, and take his rightful place as king of Umuoba. But with every village he conquered, his humanity faded. By the time he arrived at Umuoba's borders, he was no longer a man, but a monster. King Nnamdi's face darkened. And now he is gone, he said softly, pondering briefly what life would have been like if he knew he had a brother. Yes, the oracle said, Ikem's sacrifice has saved this kingdom. Let his bravery remind us that the sins of the past must never be repeated. The crowd bowed their heads in silent reverence as the tale of Chike, the forgotten brother, and to the brave hunter who gave his life to save them all. Ikem's story became legend, passed down through generations. Parents told their children of the great hunter who gave his life to save his village, teaching them the value of sacrifice, courage, and love. Though Nena and Chioma bore the weight of their loss, they found solace in the knowledge that Ikem's heroism had brought peace to their people. And under the watchful eyes of his statue, Umuoba thrived once more. Thank you so much for watching my second story. If you missed the first one, click here to see how King Nnamdi and Queen Anwuli met, and how Anwuli went from outcast to queen. So until I post my third video, bye for now.